B2EMO, the adorable little droid in Andor, has been with Cassian his entire life, but I'm almost certain Season 2 is setting up his most heartbreaking fate yet.
It's not important, but why not tell me?
We all know K2SO is Cassian's most trusted companion in Rogue One, but what if their bond goes far deeper than we ever realised? What if K2 isn't just another reprogrammed Imperial droid, but the last piece of Cassian's past?
It's high.
Let's get going.
It's very high.
Imagine losing your father, your mother, and then your home, only to have your last connection to that life taken too. Because if this theory is right, B2's story isn't ending, it's getting a new name. Before we jump in, don't forget to leave a thumbs up on today's video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to catch more Star Wars videos just like this, then you're in the right place. Now, with all that out of the way, let's dive into Andor Season 2 and the dark truth about B2EMO.
Take care of Biggs until I get there. I'm counting on you.
You always say that.
And you always come through.
Now, B2 isn't just another droid in the Star Wars universe, he's a piece of Cassian's past, the living memory of the life he had before the rebellion consumed him. From the moment we meet him in Andor Season 1, it's obvious that B2 isn't there to serve, he's there because he belongs. He's not just programmed to be loyal, he feels, he hesitates, and he mourns. Anyway, Cassian doesn't treat B2 like most people treat droids. He talks to him, reassures him, and sometimes even scolds him, a little bit like a little brother who doesn't understand. And B2 reacts not as an obedient machine, but as a family member who genuinely cares. When Marva passes, B2 doesn't just lose an owner, he loses a mother. But this connection between them isn't just about emotion, it's about identity. B2 has been there for every major moment of Cassian's life. He was there when Marva and Clem took him in.
Vapor density acceptable.
He was around when Clem was executed, and he was there when Cassian tried to build a life for himself outside Ferrix. The fact is, B2 is the one thing that has remained consistent in Cassian's life, a reminder of where he came from, and now, with Andor Season 2 taking us right up to the events of Rogue One, there's one question on everyone's lips: what happens to the little droid? In a way, we already know how this season ends. Cassian's going to go on to become that hardened rebel operative we see in Rogue One, but in the movie, B2's nowhere to be seen. And that's not an accident. Every loss in Cassian's life has pushed him further into the fight, and if B2's taken from him too, it would be the final severing of his past. Losing him wouldn't just be another loss, it would be the loss, the moment Cassian truly has nothing left to hold on to. And that's where K2SO comes in. If Cassian loses B2, there's still a way for his story to continue. We know K2 is reprogrammed by Cassian at some point before Rogue One, but what if there's more to it? What if Cassian doesn't just wipe an Imperial droid's memory? What if he salvages B2's essence, transferring whatever makes him unique into K2? I won't pretend to know the inner workings of a droid in Star Wars, but you get my drift. Anyways, it would explain why K2 isn't just another reprogrammed enforcer. He's funny, he's sarcastic, he's fiercely loyal to Cassian in a way that possibly goes beyond programming. If this theory is true, then K2's sacrifice in Rogue One becomes even more devastating, because in that moment, Cassian isn't just losing his best friend, he's losing the last piece of his childhood.
Goodbye!
The last piece of home, the last remnant of the life the Empire stole from him, and when he stays behind on Scarif knowing he's not going to make it out, maybe it's because in that moment he realises that there's nothing left for him to go back to. The Empire has taken everything, so if Andor Season 2 does lead to B2's destruction, and if this theory turns out to be true, then K2 isn't just a droid, it's actually B2's final form, the last link to Cassian's past, following him into the fight until the very end. So yeah, Andor Season 2 is a story of transformation, but no change comes without sacrifice. Over 4 years, Cassian won't just grow into the hardened rebel we meet in Rogue One, he's going to have to let go of everything that made him who he was. His family is already gone, his home on Ferrix is no longer safe, but if B2's taken from him as well, then that's it. The final link to the life he once had is gone. And here's the thing, Andor isn't just about loss, it's about what happens after loss. Cassian has spent his life watching the Empire take everything, but he's never just accepted it. He fights, he adapts, and he finds a way to hold on. So if the little droid's destroyed, does Cassian really just let that be the end, or does he make a choice we've never really seen in Star Wars before, one that keeps B2 alive in a new form? That's where K2 comes into the picture. We already know Cassian reprograms the security droid at some point before Rogue.
A product of the reprogram. Why does she get a blaster and I don't?
But what if that's not the entire story? What if reprogramming K2 isn't just about flipping an enemy droid into an ally, but actually about salvaging the last piece of home he has left? If B2's core memory is somehow transferred into K2, that changes so much. It means K2 isn't just another droid, it means Cassian is actually preserving, not replacing. And this is where the stakes really start to rise, because if this theory is true, then K2's sacrifice in Rogue One becomes even more devastating. Losing him wouldn't just mean losing a trusted companion, it would be the second time Cassian has had to say goodbye to B2. It would mean that once again, the Empire didn't just take an ally from him, they took the very last piece of his past, and when K2 falls, that's it. Cassian is alone with nothing left but the fire. Well, and the girl we met 5 seconds ago, but that's besides the point. Anyways, that's what makes Andor such a powerful story. It's not just about how Cassian became a rebel, it's about how the Empire systemically stripped him of everything that ever made him Cassian Andor. Rogue One already showed us his sacrifice. But Andor is setting up why it had to happen. If B2's destruction is the moment Cassian realises there's nothing left to go back to, then his transformation's complete. And if he finds a way to preserve B2 in K2, then this theory isn't just a twist, it's the final heartbreak in a story that's been leading to tragedy all along. Anyway, we already know that Season 2 is gonna be brutal, not just in terms of action, but in terms of how it dismantles Cassian piece by piece. His losses aren't just personal, they're part of what shapes him into the hardened rebel we meet in Rogue. But if B2 truly is the last link to his past, then his destruction wouldn't just be another tragedy, it would be the start of something far bigger. Cassian has never been the kind of person to let go easily. We saw it back in Season 1, his refusal to leave Marva.
I won't have peace. I'll be worried about you all the time.
His desperation to find his sister, his resistance to getting swept up in the rebellion despite knowing it was inevitable. Even when the galaxy keeps ripping things away from him, he finds a way to hold on, so if B2 is destroyed, does Cassian really just accept that? Or does he do something no one in Star Wars has ever done? Find a way to make sure his little companion lives on? That's where this theory takes a huge turn, because if B2's memory can be salvaged, if Cassian finds a way to preserve even a fragment of what made him unique, then this story isn't just about the death of a droid. It's also about a survival we've never seen before, because if B2's personality, his core programming, his essence, whatever you want to call it, can be transferred, then Cassian might have already had the answer to a question Star Wars has never really fully explored. Can a droid soul live on, even in a completely different form? We've seen hints of it before. Like in Solo: A Star Wars Story, Lando's droid L3 was integrated into the Millennium Falcon, but this would be on a totally different level, because B2 wouldn't just be transferred into another machine, he'd be placed into an Imperial security droid built for war. It explains why he's so different from every other reprogrammed Imperial droid, why he doesn't just follow orders but actively challenges Cassian.
There's a 35% chance of
I don't want to
failure.
know. Thank you.
I understand.
Why he has a sense of humour, a protectiveness, and a bond with Cassian that feels personal, because deep down, it's been B2 the entire time. Now, everything we've discussed so far has been leading to this. Cassian has spent his entire life trying to hold on to the people he loves, to the places he calls home, to the last remnants of a childhood that was stolen from him, but no matter how hard he tries, the Empire takes everything, his family, his home, and if his theory is right, B2 as well. And what does Cassian do when he's lost everything? Well, he does what he's always done, he finds a way to hold on. That's why if K2 is more than just a reprogrammed security droid, if he's carrying some part of B2, then his sacrifice in Rogue One means so much more. And it really makes that moment on Scarif so much more devastating, because K2 isn't just ensuring the mission succeeds, he's ensuring Cassian makes it to the finish line. It's the last thing B2 can do for him, and when Cassian's there on the beach of Scarif, watching the Death Star blast approach, he doesn't run, he doesn't try to escape, because at the moment, he's finally let go. The fight is all he has left, and he's embracing it. This is what Andor Season 2 is setting up. It's not about how Cassian Andor became a rebel, it's why he had to.
When the day comes that those two pull together, he will be an unstoppable force for good.
It's not about choosing the cause, it's about having nothing left but the cause. So now we've broken down the emotional weight of B2's potential transformation into K2, there's one final question that could change how we watch Andor Season 2. Has the show already started laying the groundwork for this twist? From the very beginning, B2 has felt different from the other Star Wars droids. He's not just an assistant, his attachment to Cassian and Marva feels deeply personal, almost human. He struggles with change, refuses to accept loss, and mourns in a way we've never seen from a droid before.
I don't want to be alone. I want Mama Marva.
If Andor is building towards his destruction, then the show might already be planting subtle hints that B2 isn't just any droid. One of the biggest clues might actually be his memory core. B2's likely been storing every moment of his existence over many decades. If Marva never wiped his memory, or perhaps even enhanced his ability to retain data, that could explain why he feels so different. What if there's something in B2's core that makes him more than just a machine? And this is where things get really interesting. What if someone in Season 2 recognizes this, maybe an engineer, a rebel tech expert, or even Cassian himself, notices that B2's memory is unlike any other droids. What if there's a moment where Cassian is told that B2 can't just be replaced, that whatever makes him unique can actually be saved, and that's what changes Rogue One forever? Because if Andor Season 2 sets this up, then K2's personality isn't just a byproduct of his programming, it's a remnant of B2, reshaped by an Imperial system, but still there.
And there's a fresh one if you mouth off again.
So if Andor Season 2 drops even the smallest hint that B2's core is in some way special or unique, then this theory isn't just speculation, it's a tragic reveal waiting to happen. Because when that moment comes, when K2 makes his final stand on Scarif, it won't just be a droid making a sacrifice for the mission, it'll be B2 protecting Cassian one last time. So yeah, if this theory turns out to be true, Andor Season 2 isn't just setting up Rogue One, it's redefining it. Every moment between Cassian and K2 in that film, every sarcastic remark, every moment of trust, suddenly takes on a whole new weight. Because K2's sacrifice wouldn't just be the loss of a trusted companion in the fight against the Empire, it would be the last piece of Cassian's past disappearing forever. And that completely changes how we see Rogue One. If K2 is more than just a reprogrammed droid, if he's carrying even a fragment of B2, then suddenly his humour, his protectiveness, his unwavering loyalty will all feel different. Rewatching Rogue One with this in mind, it's impossible not to wonder if this is the case. It totally makes K2's final stand on Scarif one of the most powerful moments in all of Star Wars. Not just a droid ensuring the mission succeeds, but the last remnant of Cassian's childhood protecting him one last time. What do you think? Could Andor really be leading towards this reveal? As always, drop your thoughts, theories and wildest speculation down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our deep dive on how Season 2 will change Star Wars forever. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one, and may the Force be with you.